So we'll start our healing class. I'm just going to plug in my headset. It's going to be very simple stuff today, easy to follow along. Okay, so hopefully my new headset is connected. I'm just going to change the sound. So it's what's called original sound. So just in case we do any sound work, it comes up more easily. Okay, so what happens is that I tend to start the class off with some very, very simple, very, very light exercises. And so if you'd like to join in with that, you can, but just take them incredibly easily. And then we do some standing meditation, but that's equally well done in a sitting posture as well. And so sometimes I suggest to people, you have a chair behind you, and so that you can stand for as long as you wish to stand, and then at some stage, you can just, without disturbing yourself, you can just sit gently down and actually continue your meditation. So if that feels like something you might want to do, then please go ahead and do that. Okay, great. So we'll begin in a moment. So please just stand in a posture with your feet at shoulder width. Nice, generous, open stance. Not hip width, which is where we normally stand. This is shoulder width, a bit wider. Try and unlock the knees. We often stand with our knees locked back, as if we were standing at a bus stop. This is very much about relaxing the knees and letting them sink downwards. Keep the body nice and straight, gently looking forwards. And these warm-up exercises just to get the body moving in an easy fashion, get the energy, the underlying chi moving as well. And so the first exercise comes out deep from the belly. We're moving the belly from side to side, from the very core of you, moving the belly from side to side. Leave your hands totally relaxed. Leave your arms totally relaxed. And as you make this turn from the very core of you, your arms will just gently fold around your body. Open up the palms and just let the hands gently tap onto the sides. Just feel a gentle thump onto your tummy button. Just feel a gentle thump onto the small of your back. So as we turn, we're just gently turning our spines. Nothing too challenging for the spine, but just enough to wake it up. But you can feel also that your hips move a little bit, your knees move a little bit, your ankles even move a small amount. As we go up the spine, each vertebra gently twists. We'll do a bit more for the neck slightly later on, but you can feel that the shoulders are moving, your elbows are moving, your wrists move. That gives the whole body an exceptionally gentle warm up. Just gets the musculoskeletal system moving. There's more to it than that as well, because as you tap onto the body, you're sending a vibration through the body like a drum. And the body responds well to being tapped. Everything in our system is built on a vibration of some sort. And so, yes, Nikola Tesla said, if you want to understand the entire universe, you have to understand vibration. And so by just tapping onto the body, you're just sending a kind of vibration through. At this stage, we're just tapping on our spleen on the left-hand side, tapping on our liver on the right-hand side. Round the back, you're gently tapping on the base of the kidneys as well. So these organs are just getting a little tap, a little wake-up call. But also, as we get the body into movement like this as well, the underlying energy starts to move. So in a Western sense, we don't really have any understanding of this chi. It's basically because we can't measure it. We haven't got a device to measure it. We have actually. We've got the most complex device on earth to measure it, which is called your body. and your body can detect qi and feel qi. You know, sometimes it takes a bit of training. So for instance, you know, I can feel your pulses and tell what's going on. But yeah, our bodies can detect qi, but there's no mechanical devices which can really get a handle on it. I always used to say, when people say, what is qi? I used to say, well, it's easier to tell you what it's not than it is what it is. And or what it contains, I suppose, is a better way of putting it. It's like electromagnetism. It's not only that. It's like magnetism, but it's not only that. It's like light, but it's not only that. It's like electricity, but it's not only that. It's like nuclear fusion, but it's not only that. You're beginning to get the picture, and that's why, you know, it's such a difficult thing for us to measure. And so we have this energy that moves around in our body, which, as far as Western medicine is concerned, you know, doesn't really exist. But Chinese people for 5,000 years or more, you know, have known about qi and have not let that get in the way. Just because they can't measure it, they can feel the effects of it. And so, you know, who cares whether you can measure it or not? If you can use it, that's all that's important. And so we use it in Qigong, this energy, that underlying energy that moves around the body. And sometimes it moves along with the blood supply, but sometimes it has its own channels that move around the body. The organs store various types of qi. But deep in your belly, you've got the main store of qi. It doesn't relate to anything anatomically. It's just an area of high concentration of energy. And you're tapping on it now. You're tapping on, let's say, the gateways to it now. As your hands tap, or your forearms tap onto your belly button, you're tapping an acupuncture point there, right in the center of the belly button, which is seen as a kind of gateway to take qi deep inside your body. But also there's a matching one on the small of the back. It sits between L3 and L4 on the spine. And you're just gently tapping on that as well. And that stimulates these two gateways and allows qi to flow in and out of your body. So it's constantly flowing in and out of your body. You're constantly connected to the qi around you. We often think of ourselves as being separate and individual. You know, our own problems and our own little lives, everything's inside us. But actually, the truth of the matter is that when we look at something like quantum science, we realize that we're just a sort of bag of molecules and atoms going around in a soup of molecules and atoms, and exactly the same thing for qi. You know, you are qi, but everything around you is qi as well. The plants are made from qi, the walls are made from qi, the air is made from qi, you know, dark matter is qi, that sort of thing. And so you're swimming through this vast soup of energy, and to think that you're disconnected from it is a really crazy idea. You know, to think that we can do things to nature without kind of having any response to ourselves is just nuts, really. But that's the stage we're at, unfortunately, and so we just have to go along with that. And so what we're working away at here is working away with the energy inside our body. When you do exercises like this, you can release qi that's no longer needed in the body and add qi that you require. So that's one of the principal ideas of Qigong, is bringing about balance. Okay, so sometimes these exercises might make you feel a little bit dizzy. So if you're feeling lightheaded, the first aid advice is think about your big toes. That's a bit of a strange one, but just squeeze your big toe against the ground and feel the contact point. Merge into that space between your big toe and the floor or your shoe. Really feel the contact point, and then move on to the next toe, which may or may not be called the index toe. Squeeze that, and then the middle toe, and squeeze that, and the ring toe and the little toe, and just each of the 10 points where your foot kind of connects to the ground through the toes. Really concentrate your mind on how those points feel. So hopefully that starts to make you feel a little bit less dizzy. The reason for that is an old Chinese adage, which is Yi Dao, Qi Dao. Yi Dao, where the mind goes, Qi Dao, the energy follows. And so if you put your mind in your toes, you're starting to move the energy downwards in your body. And instead of it being in your head, making you dizzy, you can rebalance yourself by moving it down, thinking about your toes. Let's slow this exercise down a little bit. Now we can open it up further. So this last part here just goes slower, but a little bit longer, and it just incorporates the neck. Try and look over the shoulder. So as we do that, we gently open up the neck. Okay, so some of you might have seen my recent writing that I put out on the internet, published today, and on our WhatsApp chat yesterday, extolling the virtues of standing Qigong. And here we find ourselves in a class doing standing Qigong. So I'll talk a little bit about that in due course, about what we're doing here. Let's just do a few more nice and easy long stretches with the neck, opening the whole thing up. Good. And then let's just let the whole thing slowly subside. So we never stop quickly. We just go slowly, bit by bit, slowly, slowly, and let everything settle. Now, if that has made you feel lightheaded, this next exercise is all about calming the body down. So imagine plugging your hands into the ground and you lift a beautiful ball of chi out of the earth, up into the blue sky. And then you can imagine drawing it down through your body. So imagine this ball of chi going down inside your head, moving down inside your chest, and eventually getting down to this space behind the belly button, deep in the belly where we store this energy. And then you can relax the hands and imagine the kind of circuit being completed down the legs all the way back into the earth. So let's gather chi up and pour the chi down through your body, moving it from the head so you feel less dizzy, moving it from the chest down into the belly where it gets stored, and then relaxing on down into the ground, connecting. So we'll do this about 3 times, which I find tends to be the magic number. But if you're still feeling lightheaded and dizzy, just keep going with it. Do it 10 times. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. You make yourself feel comfortable and more relaxed. And if at any stage you suddenly think to yourself, whoa, hang on, just sit down, lie down. It doesn't matter what you do. You could do this entire class lying down if you wish, entirely up to you. Okay, so this idea of moving the chi from the head down into the chest, down to the depths of the belly, behind the belly button, this kind of storage area. Okay, so now we're going to do some simple forward bends, forward, back, and side bends, really, but not a difficult thing. Let's just gather one more time. So you can put the hands in the earth, lift up, and then pour down. And all we're going to do is just follow our fingers all the way down into a comfortable forward bend, wherever your back will let you go. So we draw the energy down to the belly, and we let it go down through the legs, and you can gently tip over. Now then, what's your back capable of today? So just sink down, keep your knees nice and soft, and just relax down and see where your back will go to. So there's no pressure here, it's just wherever it'll manage today. If you only get half the way down, so your hands are opposite your knees, that's fine. Each time you do it, you'll find you just go a little bit further, so it's not a problem. Whatever you can manage is just great. The back of the neck, can you release that? So we tend to have a very kind of, sorry, I've just realized that sometimes this microphone goes a bit like a Dalek. So if you're experiencing any strange noises, I can always switch it off and switch it on again. So please tell me if your sound quality is terrible. Okay, so yeah, when you go down to this bend, you keep your knees soft, you relax the back of the neck. So very often we lift the head up to see what's going on, but try and relax the back of the neck. Okay, so extend softly towards your toes. And then gently release that bend. Imagine a line drawn between the roots of your toes. Just gently stretch towards that and release the bend. Imagine a line drawn between your insteps. Just gently stretch towards that line and release. And imagine a line drawn between your heels. Gently stretch towards that. So as you can see, each of these 4 stretches just get a little bit deeper each time. And then release and relax and let the body hang. So to bring ourselves upright, lift the tailbone so it points right up behind you. And then swing the tailbone towards the front of your body and start to stack the spine up. Join your arms and your ears together and try and bring those up as one. And that just adds a bit of extra weight onto the top of the shoulders and neck. Draw the hands up to full height. Stretch. So we always try and come up slowly so as not to make ourselves feel too dizzy. If you ever find yourself feel dizzy, just go back to doing this whole kind of pulling down thing about 3 or 4 times. Okay, so next thing is just a gentle back bend. Let your knees go softly forward as you lean back. Stretch up and gently back. Stretch up and gently back. Stretch up and gently back. Hands up into the blue sky. And the last bit of this, we just do some comfortable side bends. So let the left hand drift down, opening the right side of the body. Right hand goes down, opening the left side of the body. Down on the left. And down on the right. Okay, so that's the full exercise set. You've seen everything now, so we'll just run through this again another 3 times. So first of all, it's just the arms and ears that tip over. You're just working on the nape of your neck. Body stays straight. When the arms are parallel to the floor, you start to let the upper back bend, and then work into the middle of the back, and then gently into the lower back, and let everything settle and sink down. Back of the neck relaxes, body hangs. Knees can still stay soft for this one, gently bent, back of the neck, totally relaxed. Okay, so you imagine splitting your foot into quarters. First one is dipping down towards your toes, and then gently release, in line with the roots of your toes, and release, in line with your insteps, and release, in line with your heels, nice deep bend. Relax and release, the body hangs down. We lift the tailbone to point up into the blue sky behind us. Swing the tailbone to the front of the body. Start to roll the spine up. Try and join the arms and ears and bring those up as one piece. So as the neck comes up, the arms come up into the blue sky. Let your knees and hips gently move forwards as you lean back. Stretching up and gently back. Stretching up and gently back. Up and back. Up. Let's do the side bends then. Let your left hand gently arc down, open the right side of the body. Right hand arcs down, open up the left side of the body. Down on the left. And down on the right. Good. And then just draw the hands back up. So now we'll go through the whole thing, but let's try and keep the legs straight if possible. So you lock the knees, and then we just do the head, the arms, and the ears as before. And the arms are parallel to the floor. Arch into the upper back, middle back, lower back. Allow the body to hang and relax, but keep the legs straight. So you may not go down as far as you did before, just depends on your hamstrings, but just let's see where you can get to. Let the body hang very nice and easily. Okay, so when we're in this posture here, it's nice just to shift the weight a tiny bit forward into the toes. That just gives a little bit of an extra hamstring stretch. Okay, so back to the normal exercise, stretching down towards your toes, and then release. Moving down towards the roots of your toes, and release. Moving down towards the insteps,
and release. Stretching back towards the heels or as deep as you fancy going. Relax, release, body hangs. Lift the tailbone up behind. Push the tailbone to the front of the body. Start the spine building up. Arms and ears come up as one piece. Gently draw yourself up to full height. Stretch. Release knees and hips forward as you lean back. Stretching up and gently back. Up and back. Up and back. Hands up in the blue sky. Arcing down on the left-hand side. Arcing down on the right-hand side. Down on the left. And down on the right. Draw gently up on the right-hand side. Run through this exercise set one more time. Legs are straight. Just the arms and ears tipping over. Then start into the upper back. Work into the middle back. Sink into the lower back. Let the body relax and sink. Nice straight legs. Body relaxes. Tummy tucked a little bit. Body just easily hanging here. Shift the weight a tiny bit forward to your toes. Let the hamstrings really stretch out. Okay, first little stretch takes us down towards our toes. And release. Heading down towards the roots of our toes. And release. Working towards the insteps. And release. Back towards the heels. Release and relax. Body hangs. Tailbone lifts up behind. Tailbone pushes to the front. Spine gently rolls up. Arms and ears gently roll up. Head comes up to full height. Stretch. Knees and hips move forward as you lean back. Stretching up and gently back. Up and back. Up and back. Hands into the blue sky. Left hand down and feel the right side of the body open. Right hand curves down. Left hand side of the body open. Down on the left. And down on the right. Gather both hands up above the head. And just hold the hands over the crown of the head for a few moments. Imagine a torrent of qi pouring down from your hands, down through the arms, all the way down through the top of the head, down through the shoulders and neck, and down through the whole the spine, down through the body, down through the hips, down through the feet, all the way down through into the earth below. Almost as if we're standing in a shower of qi, filling the whole body, cleansing the whole body, moving through the body, shifting all the qi that's no longer needed out and replacing it with fresh new energy. Stretch hands into the blue sky. Just release the hands gently down the sides. And then we'll just gather qi 3 times. So we plug the hands in the earth, lift up a ball of qi up above the head. Let it pour down through the body, moving from the head deep into the chest, deep into the belly. And then relaxing the hands and letting it pour on down the legs, back into the ground. Let's go again. And pour. Move the qi. Sink the qi deep inside. Allow the qi to flow on down. Gather again.
deep into the belly. And then relax. Okay, one more time. Well, actually, if you fancy doing it 10 more times because you're feeling a bit wobbly, then that's fine. But one more time is generally enough. Let's bring our hands down and bring them down into the belly. So we're going to draw the chi down all the way through the center of the body, and it arrives deep in the center of your belly. We'll just put our hands on the belly button. So this is a really sort of comforting, standard posture in Qigong. Knees a little bit bent, back nice and straight, hands sitting on the belly button. There's a very powerful point right in the very palm of your hand. So you put one on top of the other, on top of the belly button, and all of that on top of this kind of deep energy field inside. It's a very potent place to stand. We try and keep our knees a little bit bent. The reason for that is that qi flows much better through an unlocked joint rather than sort of like having the leg completely straight. So often when we've got to stand at a bus stop, we stand with our knees locked, or when we lean against, anything, lean against a wall, put one leg onto a table, ham on a table. We kind of do anything we possibly can not to just stand. So this is the first practice, is just standing. This class will be an hour long. You'll have been standing for an hour by the end of it, or some of it. And the idea is that the more you stand, the more you're building up the strength in your legs. So I always observe the fact that if you go to somewhere like Beijing, you'll find 80-year-old ladies standing on one leg in the park, and our old ladies going down like skittles in the high street. That's the difference between practicing your Qigong, practicing your exercise in your legs. Having these sort of gently bent knees really, really strengthens the lower body. So this is the first, excuse me, the first part of this exercise is that just by standing, hopefully every day would be nice, but standing every day with your knees gently bent, the muscles in the legs become very, very strong over a period of time. So quite clearly, Qigong is not, just for Christmas. Qigong is for life. And so the idea is that, over a long period of time, your lower body becomes very strong and very steady. The upper body stays light and mobile. So it's yin and yang. Yin of the earth, very cooling, very calm, very relaxed. Upper body is yang, moving, doing the exercises. And so, we have this idea that we're building our lower bodies up to become strong and stable platforms on which the upper body can exercise and move itself. So for standing Qigong, it's slightly different. There are two forms of Qigong. One is called static and one is called active. And so active Qigong clearly is what we've just been doing some exercises. Static Qigong is what we're doing now, but that in itself is a misnomer because you'll feel that you're gently moving forwards and backwards, that you're just a tiny little movements in the body, that you're not standing absolutely like a concrete pillar that's been planted into the ground. You're just moving ever so slightly. And if you look at your a large tree in your garden, an oak tree in the park, you'll see that they move imperceptibly. They gently, gently shift. Everything is constantly in motion, moving branches, moving leaves, everything is shifting. So nothing is ever truly static in Qigong. It's just more static than the active, if you like. And so, don't worry about micro movements. That's acceptable. Trying to remind yourself to keep the knees bent. Just occasionally, we just have to dip back into our knees. So as we stand here, we're looking for something that's sustainable. Let's set up the posture in the Zheneng Qigong style. So just let your hands relax down by your sides. You bring your feet together. So the feet together, for me, that means heels together because I've got slightly fallen arches, so my feet are a little bit 10-2. But if you can have your feet completely parallel, that's ideal. For me, it feels like I'm forcing it. So I always, let my body do what it wants, really. So that's one of the key aspects to this is don't do what I say, do what seems right to you. So I can give you guidance, but I can't obviously, and everybody's body is different. So for this setup, put all the weight on your heels and open your toes out to 90 degrees. And then step on your toes and open your heels out to parallel. So now we've got what's called shoulder width. When you allow your arms to hang down, you'll see the outside of your arm is parallel with the outside of your foot now. So that is your shoulder width posture. And then for our standing posture, you can open your heels even a little bit further, and that makes you feel slightly knock-kneed, but that's fine. So the knees gently drift down towards each other. So the knees sag towards the middle, the weight transfers towards the front of the foot, the back stays nice and tall. You can just move your tailbone a tiny bit towards the front and sit down slightly as if you were sitting down on a high back dinner chair. Let's bring the hands back to the belly once more. Okay, so one of the other things that helps straighten the spine up a little bit is just bringing the chin slightly backwards. So very often when we stand, we have our chin sort of slightly jutting forwards. So what we're doing is drawing the chin back, just gently squeezing the chin back towards the spine. So very often in Tai Chi, you'll hear people say, tuck chin in. And what happens to the whole class is everybody does this. They tuck the chin in and they sort of stare at the ground. Not what we're looking for at all. Tuck chin back is a much better idea. Moving the chin slightly back towards your spine. So when we tuck the tailbone a little bit forward, we tuck the chin a little bit backwards, our spine is the straightest it will ever be. And that allows the chi to transfer much more easily. The knees are bent. That allows the chi to transfer from the earth upwards into your body. The spine is nice and long, top of the head gently pushing up towards the blue sky, but tailbone drawing down towards the earth. So your spine is kind of being stretched as the tailbone goes down, the top of the head goes up. We have this nice long spine, and now chi flows really easily up into the brain, gathering down all the way through the body, from the earth flowing up into the lower dantian, up into the energy field here in your belly, from the heavens pouring down into this energy field in your belly. And that is how, and our hands are on the belly. So we're kind of attracting all this energy deep into the core of us. And we're in the most perfect posture for gathering chi. So the question is, how long can you sustain this for? And sustain is such a bad word. I remember going to the climate conference in 2012 and a guy saying to me, that word sustain you keep on saying, just how would you like to apply that to your own marriage? I sort of thought, a sustainable marriage, yeah, it doesn't sound like a good thing, does it? So we want better than sustainable, but sustainable is a good starting point. You know, can we sustain this posture for a long time? So as I say, you may need to just, sit back down on your chair, that's fine. But if you can sustain this posture for a little while, what happens to your feet? Sometimes it feels like your feet are on fire. Sometimes you just have to gently lift up a foot and move it around to let the blood flow. But try not to, try to persevere your way through that before you decide to do that. Sometimes you feel that your back is getting a little bit sore, and you might have to sort of gently bend or move your spine a bit, shift your knees a bit, move your hips a little bit. Sure, why not? What we have to do is to make the standing posture, to make the physicality support the mind and not disturb the mind. So that's the absolute sort of key piece of advice is, can you find something with your body that will allow your mind to settle into a quiet place? So having mentioned these ideas of the knees bent, the back straight, the chi flowing easily through your body and the chi gathering easily in your body, that is what standing Qigong is all about. So as you go about your daily life, your body is like a bank account. You're spending your chi. Your chi reserves are being depleted. Everything you do costs you some chi. Every action you make, every thought you take, everything you worry about, every piece of stress costs you energy. And that's why at the end of the day, you feel so depleted, because you've spent all your energy. Nobody ever taught you how to gather energy. This is it. This is where you learn to fill the bank account up again. So every single time you come to a standstill like this, you allow your body to relax into this gathering posture. You allow your mind to quieten. then the qi starts to gather in your body. You're filling the bank account up again. That's why Qigong was invented. It became the antidote to martial arts. So somewhere 1,000 years ago, people were beating each other up, spears and, fists and things like that. 2,000, 5,000 years ago, people were beating each other up. And it was understood that what you needed was to give yourself time to replenish, recharge. And so Qigong was about learning how to recharge the body, about how to get energy flowing again, how to gather energy deep inside, how to fix the bits that got hurt, how to fix the bits that got broken. And so these days, Qigong is the antidote to the 21st century. So we have such hectic lives, such busy, stressful lives. And what we'd use is Qigong to be the antidote to that. Every hour you spend doing your Qigong is not going to give you just an hour. It's going to give you more. It's going to give you 2 hours, 3 hours, 5 hours of kind of extra energy. And so doing, an hour of Qigong every day would change your life dramatically. And it really is an extraordinary thing. Doing the exercises are very potent for getting the qi moving, for stretching the muscles, getting things working. But also there's this idea about quietening the mind. So Qigong physical exercises work very well on the body. But now what we're talking about is the mind. Standing Qigong is very good for quietening the mind down. So you might feel that at the moment your mind is raging along, thinking of 1,000 different things, and especially saying to you, what on earth are we doing here? Why am I standing still so long? What is he warbling on about? That's about our egos. Our egos want to spend qi. Our egos want to be busy. Our egos want to have something to do. Our egos are like a little child. They get bored very easily. I'm bored. And so we have to find a way to surmount that. How on earth do you quieten that ego? How on earth do you quieten your mind? And I suppose the next question is, why bother? Because if you can bring your mind into a still, quiet state, that triggers the ANS healing system, autonomic nervous system. It flips the autonomic nervous system over into healing mode. So you can only be in 2 states. Your body can be in spending mode or healing mode. If you quieten the mind and you settle the body, you move into healing mode. If your mind's still raging away, you're still expending energy. So it's time to break off and just talk about Madame Wang. I've been talking about Madame Wang a lot. One day I'll publish a video so you guys can see her. She's absolutely beautiful. It's an amazing, statuesque woman. But Madame Wang, I met in Hainan. She'd been very ill. When she arrived in Hainan, it was the second time she'd been to Hainan. The first time she spent a month there and cured herself of breast cancer. I think she was in her early 50s. And then she'd gone straight back to work and gone straight back to stress, and gone straight back to life and gone straight back to all her family problems. And after a few years, her breast cancer had come back, unsurprisingly. She hadn't changed any of the patterns. She'd healed herself and then just done the same thing over again. And it finally dawned on her, of course, I see it. Now I know what I'm doing. I get it. I've got the breast cancer back. And so she headed back to Hainan once again. She gave up her job and took time off and went back to Hainan to my friend Jianxue. And she stayed at his center there. And when she arrived, she said to him, not only do I have breast cancer, I also take prescription painkillers for all the pain in my body. And I think I'm addicted to prescription painkillers. And then she said, and I sleep for about 2 or 3 hours each night. And so Jianxue said, well, let's work with the cancer first. And so she Her practice is just doing this, standing Qigong. She's probably doing it now, at this very moment, somewhere in China. She's an extraordinarily, incredibly powerful woman. She just decided that she could heal herself by quietening her mind and bringing herself back into balance. So that's all she did. Every morning at 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 6 o'clock, she'd take up her standing posture and she'd stand there for 2 hours in deep, calm, quiet meditation, just feeling that her whole body was gathering energy and was healing. Nothing more, just a quiet mind and an absolute belief that this was going to heal her. And then 8 o'clock, the breakfast bell would go. She'd wake up, close her practice, go down, have breakfast, spend her whole day around the center, working, helping, teaching people. And then about 5 o'clock in the evening, she'd come to the practice room and she'd start her standing practice. And she'd stand for 2 hours, standing in total silence and just allowing her body to naturally heal itself. It took her 3 weeks to cure her cancer. In 3 weeks, they could detect nothing at all. A further 3 weeks saw her give up her prescription painkillers and be free of her addiction. And a further 3 weeks or a month after that, she was no longer an insomniac. She was sleeping like a baby. When I met her, she was 2 years after, and she was still practicing her standing Qigong 4 hours every day. I've never seen a more radiant being. Wow, she was powerful. So she had taken on her healing as her new job. She just said, my new job requires me to do 2 hours in the morning before breakfast and 2 hours in the morning and in the evening before dinner. And that was it. That was her job. She took that up. And that was how she healed herself. Clock on and clock off. Okay, so how are you going to achieve this quiet mind? Heaven knows I've been warbling away. Perhaps your mind's just given up now and is nice and quiet anyway. Sometimes it takes a good 20 minutes to find yourself in a settled, calm place. And that's why I tend to do those exercises at the beginning, because it brings the mind into a neutral zone. So now perhaps when you're standing, your mind will feel neutral, empty, quiet. But occasionally a thought comes along. What do we do about it? You're standing here with a lovely quiet mind, and then suddenly lunch pops into your head and you think, what am I going to eat? And then suddenly you're rummaging through the fridge in your mind, and that takes you away from the present moment. How do you bring yourself back? When you notice that you've lost your focus, perhaps a single breath might do it. So I like to take a breath in through my nostrils and imagine kind of this wonderful breath going straight up my nostrils, deep into the center of my brain, kind of illuminating the center of my brain. It's quite a lot for an in-breath to do, but I imagine that I visualize it. I have this breath coming in, it goes into the center of the brain, illuminates the whole core of the brain. And then when I breathe out, I imagine my brain, my mind, getting into an elevator and going down to the middle of my chest, going down into the center of my belly and settling behind my hands. So it just takes one breath in to draw my attention to the center of the brain, and one breath out to bring the chi deep down into the center of my belly and bring myself back to the belly. Just to return my errant mind back into the belly. Just to keep my mind calm and keep my mind in my body, not errant and away doing the shopping. So that's one little tactic. Sometimes I imagine my mind like a windscreen of a car, and I'm sitting inside the car gazing out into the darkness beyond. I'm just looking into this silky smooth darkness. Eventually something pops up. I think, oh, there's a thought. Switch on the windscreen wipers. Shoo, shoo. The thought is brushed out of the way, and I'm left with a clear, cool view. So sometimes you can just acknowledge thoughts. You can just think, okay, there's a thought about money. Just put that to one side now. We'll go and think about that later. There's a thought about my children. Push that to one side. Just think about that later. You have to remind yourself, this is you time, not anybody else time. So whatever method you employ to quieten the mind, what tends to happen is with practice, the gaps get longer and longer. You find yourself more and more often in this quiet, calm state. As soon as you slip into that quiet, calm state, the body begins healing at every level. Allow your body to heal today. Allow your body to gather vast quantities of qi. It's underlying energy that underpins the whole of your life. This is called life force energy. Allow it to fill your life. Allow your ailments to gently dissolve away. We bring fresh qi in, and the old problems are just swamped with new, good energy. But it's not just about energy, it's about information too. So I think that 95% of all illness comes from emotions. Somewhere along the way, in the deep, dark, distant past, something has affected you. Absent father, alcoholic mother, unkind brothers and sisters, bad grandparents, uncles who've molested you, whatever the horrible story may be. And sorry, I don't mean to laugh, but you know, these kind of extraordinary tropes that go round and round again, same old, affecting people's lives. It's just extraordinary. We feel it very, very personal to us, but it's just such a common thread of people getting hurt. And somehow you have to look at your relationship to whatever it was or whomever hurt you. What is it that you hold on to these days that maybe happened to you 20, 30 years ago, but it still colors your life even now? We just have to remind ourselves that in this present moment, those bad things are not happening to us at this very moment. But our mind can make us think that they are. Our mind can bring back these things with extraordinary regularity. You see a car go past and it reminds you of a partner's car, and then suddenly you're thinking about the terrible things in that relationship. Well, that car's got nothing to do with your terrible relationship, but it's just triggered an old pattern. Somebody said something, it triggers an old pattern. Christmas time triggers 1,000 old patterns. So what are these patterns? They're stories that we've told ourselves. They're stories that we've gathered from other people. Not necessarily really true stories anymore. They're things we've clung on to as devices by which to navigate our lives. But the real question is, do we still need those devices? Are they still relevant in our adult lives? My colleague John always used to say, one day when I was 35, I suddenly woke up to the fact that I was still using a strategy I'd learned when I was 12. That's a really, really telling piece of information. Old stories. You notice I use the word information. So information in your life, what is the information you no longer need? How do you break it down? How do you get to the root of it? Who's the root problem? So just think about that question. What or who is the root problem? Who made you ill? Perhaps the answer is you. Perhaps the answer has been choices you've made. But perhaps those choices are made because of someone else. Perhaps you've always wanted to impress your father or impress your mother. Perhaps you've always wanted to be loved by somebody, perhaps whatever these patterns are. How do you look at those? Can you find the root problem? You need to forgive at the deepest level. If you find that all of your patterns come from your father, he never loved me, he was never around, he was abusive to me, he hit me, whatever it is, it may be long gone now, but somehow we have to forgive that pattern, forgive that person. So when we're talking about dissolving problems in the body, it's no less relevant to dissolve problems in our past. We're going to use a very simple tool now called La Qi. Just let your hands hold a little ball of Qi in front of your belly. Think about something you wish to dissolve. So that might be a person, a problem relationship, a time of your youth that wasn't good, a relationship that was toxic, whatever it might be. Just imagine it between your hands. When you open your hands, we're going to say the word Kai. Kai is Chinese for open, but it means so much more. It means dissolve. It means let go. And then we bring our hands gently back together. We're going to say her. And her is the Chinese word for close, but it also means reform, rebuild, draw in. And so when we say Kai, we think about this toxic problem just once, and we let this toxic problem dissolve out into the universe. When we say her, we bring back perfect healing for that situation. You're never going to change the past, but you can think differently of the past. You can think better of the past. You can even imagine a new edited past if you wish. It doesn't really matter. Your brain can't tell the difference. So on the first 1 or 2 times, we just think about this problem, we let it go, and we bring back a perfect healing for it. And then don't keep on repeating that old story. Just think, let go, let go, let go. All the problems dissolve, come back, bring back total healing. So in other words, what we're not doing is saying the same problem over and over and over and over and repeating the name of it and going over it again and again. So what we do is just say once or twice. It's like setting your intention. I'm going to break down the problem with my dad forever, let it dissolve. And then after a couple of times, we're just saying that all emotional problems go, bring back incredible healing for my body, no longer specific. So just forming the hands, a little ball about the size of a melon in front of your belly. And then when we open it, we take it open the size of a beach ball. So let's just say Kai. Think of the problem. Let it go, let it go, let it go. Bring back perfect healing for that situation. Maybe think of the problem one more time. Just be very specific. Bring the hands together. See all the problems resolved. Continue in a non-specific way, just letting go of any emotional problems. Bringing back healing, health, and happiness into your life. Let's go of emotional issues. Brings back great healing into your life, into your body. Letting go of all illness, all problems. Open up space inside your body, inside your life. Draw chi deep inside to heal. Couple more times. Just make the voice a bit quieter when we do two more. Just move the hands without any sound. Two more times. And eventually we draw the hands slowly back towards the belly. So that posture we had before. One hand on top of the other. Hands over the belly button. Chi deep inside. Body nourished by this incredible energy. Patterns breaking down. The things that pinned illness in place starting to dissolve. Everything starting to change in your life. Just by doing these simple practices, we dig in at the deepest root cause. We start to break down old stories, bring in new healings. Feeling your body absorbing this information. At the deepest level, you start to understand that you can change the information in your life and thus change the physicality of your body. Allow your body to heal. You just have to get your mind out of the process. You remove the mind and the body just heals itself. Very good. Okay, so we're going to close off then. Let's gently bring our hands up into the prayer position in front of our hearts. Step on chi. So that means close your feet back together, heel toe till you come back into the standing stance. And then bring your hands up in front of your face, up over the top of the head. Give a little long stretch into the blue sky. We let our hands drift down a little bit, let the knees be slightly soft. And then you open up little fingers, ring fingers, middle fingers. You just split this lovely triangle apart, down to shoulder height. A little scoop of the hands, and the hands come around to the front, and just direct energy in through the third eye, deep inside the center of your brain. Imagine your brain illuminated, every cell in your brain working well. total clarity. Brain functions normal. And then we just drift our arms down, let the hands come underneath the armpits, just touch onto the side of the body. This addresses an energy field in the middle of your chest. So imagine sending energy into this field. It supports your lung function, your heart, your spleen, pancreas, your liver, your kidneys, all of the energy flowing deep inside the major organs, all of the organs of your body working really well. All functions of your organs normal. And then we just drift our hands back behind so they're pointing back to the horizon behind us. And then the back of the hands move forwards. When they get to the side of the body, you turn them over with a bit of a flourish, and we send a wave of chi out into the blue sky. And then we're slowly gathering this chi back towards the belly. So traditionally, it would always be left hand first for guys and right hand first for ladies. But these days, it's really pretty much whatever you feel. So you just feel which is right. You imagine this beautiful ball of chi. We're just going to squeeze it directly in through the belly button, get it deep inside, hold it deep inside. Lower dantian chi is abundant. This energy deep inside, it supports your whole life function. So imagine this ball of glowing chi deep in the belly. Allow it to kind of sweep up your spine into your brain. Fill your brain, fill your neck, fill your shoulders, all the way down your arms to your fingertips. Fill the whole of your spine and your ribs, pouring the chi down into your tailbone, into your hips, your pelvis, hip joints, flowing the chi down into your thighs, into your knees, calves, ankles, and feet. And then the torso, your upper body, your middle body, lower body, everything filled with chi. An abundance of energy throughout every cell of your body. Blood and chi flowing well throughout your entire body. All functions of your body return to perfect working order. Just imagine that. All functions of the body, perfect working order. Okay, so we're going to turn 3 circles around the belly button. We just circle around the belly button anti-clockwise, but it doesn't really matter. 3 circles round, and this just draws any excess energy deep back into the belly. And then go 3 circles the other way, and this sends a signal to your body. Time to close, time to finish off, time to stop our Qigong and come back into our daily mode, as it were. Leave the hands there. Okay, let the hands relax down by your sides. Little wiggle of the fingers, a little move of your toes, little shake out, big smile on your face. Slowly open your eyes, shake and release. Okay, so to finish off, we say haola. So that's Chinese for everything is sorted, everything is good already. It's kind of an affirmation. We say haola. So if you'd like to unmute yourselves, we can all say haola together. So I count 1, 2, we put our hands in the air and we shout haola. Okay, so lift your hands up. 1, 2. Ha-la. 1, 2. Ha-la. One more time. 1, 2. Ha-la. Oh, lovely. We've got a salute for each other. You take your right hand and it's kind of facing upwards in front of you. Left hand sits on top and you pull your fingers together and then you put your thumbs on top. Okay, well, this is called entirety hands. Thank you very much. Really nice to see you guys today. This recording is going online soon, so if you want to share it with your friends, please do. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks very much, Jeremy. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.